Hello, hello, and welcome to Recorder on the Wall, the only Red Wall podcast where a bunch of grown adults make fun of a children's cartoon. My name's Drew.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Adam.
I'm Katie.
I'm Pete. No, that right now that statement is definitely accurate. I don't think the other two podcasts have covered the cartoon at
There
all.
are no other podcasts.
This is the only.
Not anymore.
No, we're one of three now. But yeah. But we were first. Haha!
Yes.
First. Oh no! I just did a bad YouTube comment. Damn it!
Speaking of bad YouTube comments, if we're gonna bring up the very first thing about this animated series, I want you to know that these comments are only a year old, but they look like they should be from 2003.
Oh,
I didn't think to read the comments.
Oh yeah, well don't.
I
We
never
read
read
comments on the internet. But before we get started, I mentioned last episode I had started a Redwall tabletop of my own. So no one here has ever played a tabletop game with me, but when I DM, I tend to rule of funny when it comes to my games. If the players come up with something wacky that I think will work with my plot, I will totally let them do it. So if you recall last time I mentioned there's a non-player badger, there is a wolverine, a squirrel, and a pangolin, because that guy likes to play pangolin. And I set them against the God Tribe. They drugged the God Tribe with psychedelic mushrooms to chase them off.
Okay.
As one does.
I mean, do they really need psychedelic mushrooms? I mean,
They just became normal at that point.
You knew it at this point.
In story here, I had written that the God Tribe was harassing the now rebuilt Marshank, which is just a harmless farming town, and that's what the player characters were trying to stop. But I had let them the option. They could have done diplomacy, they could have murdered them all, and no, they poisoned them with psychedelic mushrooms and scared them.
sounds good.
So that was a lot of fun.
Sounds like it.
What else is fun is watching cartoons. And yep, we're back. We're back at the PBS/Nelvana cartoon again.
Tim Curry, yay!
Oh gosh.
Curry.
Oh no.
Let's get this right out of the way. I have a total man crush on Tim Curry. I love the guy's work. I happily will sit down and watch stuff like Muppet Treasure Island or Clue or God knows how many cartoons this man has been in, or even listen to the soundtrack of the original Spamalot, which he played King Arthur. So,
yeah. His voice acting in the Gargoyles cartoon series is one of my favorite things about that show.
Mm-hmm. And he only played a guest role now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
he
is excellent.
narrated a lot of audiobooks like The Christmas Carol and a lot of the series of Unfortunate Events books, which I read as a kid. So that's actually, I think those ones were the first time that I heard his voice. I was like, who is this guy? He does evil really well.
Yes.
He unfortunately he suffered a stroke a couple years ago, and I know he is recovering from that. But they recalled him back when one of the network channels did a live broadcast of Rocky Horror Picture Show, which he made. That was his iconic role playing Dr. Frankenfurter. So I'm just getting this out of the way right now. I'm going to try and limit how many referential jokes I make to Slagar from a different Curry role. I might do his role of the butler in Clue because that is probably my favorite bit. Make a long story short, too late. It's probably my favorite joke out of that. But yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. Slager would have been good for almost any villain in this franchise. I don't know if he could play Starmina very well, but he would have given his all
Tim
try.
Curry would have been good for any villain?
Almost any villain.
Well, you said Slagar. So actually, I think that would be kind of funny if you had Slagar trying to
playing all the villains.
Okay, you know what I meant.
I know, but now I'm entertaining the thought of Slagar like dressing up as Sarmina and being like, "Ashley, go to." Shoot that eagle!
But yeah, I will try to limit how much curry jokes I make. So.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find space for all of them.
Are you okay?
I don't know what that was, but we're gonna move on. So, the last time we covered the cartoon, the general consensus was we liked it. I mean, it's
yeah, like is a strong word for that season, but okay.
I still like that season compared to the graphic novel. I really do.
Hey, yeah. True. Graphic novel didn't have enough Wild Ivy.
Yeah.
Except the filler, yeah. To its credit, season 1 of the cartoon does do a few things very right. They give Cornflower a heck of a lot more character development and more to do, and actually give her and Matthias a reason to be interested in each other more than the original book does. That
I would
being
agree
said,
with that.
yes, Wild Ivy is a thing. That's filler.
Yeah. Well, my main problem with season 1 was they were obviously trying to figure out what the pacing was supposed to be, which I will say that is one of the things I like way more about season 2 is the pacing is much better. It doesn't feel like they accidentally run through half the book in 4 episodes and then went, oh shoot, we have to fill time now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a lot more dialogue that's straight from the book, which is nice.
Yep.
Yeah, there is. We also have by necessity, the animated series also establishes scale, as I mentioned, of characters, who is big as what, and how big are the badgers compared to the mice, and so on and so forth. Which, the books are much more coy about, and the graphic novel went in the complete opposite direction. So.
Yeah.
But that being said, the show is not without faults.
Yeah. Season 1 was rough at points. Season 1, when it was adapting stuff out of the book, it was fine. When it tried to do its own thing is when it kind of fell apart in many ways.
And I did not like the Clooney voice.
Yeah.
That is totally fair. No. Now, if you've never heard someone rant about how something is adapted and it's bad and it's changed forever, okay, first, yes, any book, any comic, anytime a media is adapted to another media, there's going to be changes. There's going to be things that must change to fit the new medium. We're not here to complain about that because we'd probably be just one of those other angry reviewers on the internet that populate the heck out of YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm here to complain about that a little bit. I don't remember the point in the book where Father Abbott's eye went straight through his glasses and his arm cut through the table.
I'm not saying there aren't animation errors. I am not saying there aren't animation errors. Because that happens every cartoon. But what what I'm trying to say is the 5 of us are going to try and judge the cartoon on its own rights with as minimal comparisons to the book as we can. The book is the...
Yeah. Well, we can also say, like, we like a specific thing, how it was adapted into the show. Like, oh, this was a cool way to see this thing that happened in the book. For example, Rollo is still cute.
Yeah.
Oh. Right.
And his sister's annoying.
Yeah. They did a very good job at adapting that.
They did. And these first 4 episodes still don't have any of the sparrows or any of the other kind of... Or any of the...
see Warbeak once, and that's it. Like,
Birds are
when
hard to
Matthias
animate.
comes in from searching, you see Warbeak next to him, and then all of a sudden she's gone.
Apparently the sparrows are taking ninja training, so...
Ninja finish! Ninja worm!
The
Let's-
hedgehogs look like somebody had a dream about a hedgehog once, but has never seen them in real life.
I want to get to that when we actually get the Stump family introduced.
They all could have looked like Sonic the Hedgehog. It would have been a more accurate representation.
There's your idea for the abridged.
There we go. Gotta drink fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I will say, if just for the record, let's go around and what was your first when did you first discover the cartoon and what did you think of it at the time? Because we should recap that since it's been a while since we touched season 1.
Sure.
Jeremy, why don't you start?
Okay. I saw the last 2 minutes of the season finale of season 1 and went, "Oh wow, there's a Red Bull cartoon," and then never saw it again until Pete and I decided to cover it on our other podcast. And then we're like, we'll be covering it again on this podcast, and that's about all the history I have with it.
For me, I watched season 1 when it was active on the local PBS station, and then I never caught the other 2 seasons. And then when I found out it was on YouTube years ago, I decided to binge watch all of it. And then, yeah, we've been rewatching it for this podcast. Anybody else?
So I, first of all, have a sinus infection, so I apologize for my terrible voice. But let's see, I think I found them in college, and I watched them and was kind of mad at the first season. I was like, I'm going to watch the second one. And then of course, I liked that one a lot better because Tim Curry. And yeah, I think I binged them all like Jeremy. So yeah, I think I watched them a couple times, but not as much as I've read the books.
I caught wind of the abridged series, and then I went, "Oh my God, there's a Redwall show," and then I watched all of them while I was sick, and it was a good time.
Nice.
I remember catching the show here and there on TV, and I never saw it in the correct order, and only caught like the odd episode of like the Mattimeo series and the the Warrior series.
Yep, as we've mentioned previously, there's really only 3 seasons to this, unfortunately. PBS elected at the end of the 3rd season. There was a 4th one planned, but they elected not to fund it. So
that makes me very sad. I would have liked to seen what they did with like Gonf and Zarmina.
I'm pretty sure. I wasn't sure if it was Mossler or Mariel they were planning on next.
Oh, okay.
It never happened. So
Mario would be really cool. I want to see Tim Curry come back as the villain in that one.
I think Bob Hopkins.
Yes.
He could have done it really well.
Or even Dustin Hoffman. Yes, I'm thinking of the movie Hook. So.
Yeah.
I want Helena Bonham Carter for Zarmina.
Interesting choice. We should sit down one of these times and actually go through the non-covered books and say, hey, who would we want to play out those if they had been turned into the cartoon?
Like our dream voice actors.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Every single one of them, Steve Buscemi.
No.
Kurt Russell is Grey Patch.
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert Gottfried is Ash Lake.
No, he'd do it too.
Oh, yeah, it's a paycheck. So,
what's the most irritating voice actor ever? Because them as Fleet Scud.
The hatred for Fleet Scud is. I want to see Mick Jagger as Fleet Scud.
Oh, now you got
Actually,
me thinking.
Gilbert Gottfried could work as Fleet Scud. Just imagine him shouting and whining and complaining throughout the entire book. It's made for him.
No, I'm going to agree with that. But speaking of hypothetical ideas, might as well take the time to announce this now before we actually get into the 4-episode review here. When we wrap this up in 3 episodes total here, we're going to... I know most of our listeners are jumping to get at Pearls because I've gotten a lot of people comment to me on Twitter or email saying Pearls is one of their favorite books. We're getting there, guys. I promise. But after we finish Mattimeo's cartoon, we are going to take a brief pause to do a recap and fan question episode. Then we will get to Pearls. I promise.
I can feel all their mad eyes on us.
Well done, sir.
last time on Dragon Ball. Nope, sorry, wrong cartoon. When we pick up in this cartoon, we pick up pretty much right where the book starts with Orlando.
Orlando has an awesome mustache.
Yeah.
Orlando looks like a Muppet.
Orlando has an accent that's trying to decide whether it's like Cockney or Southern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to recast him with Sean Connery.
He's like, my little daughter. It's like, what is that you're doing?
I'm trying to speak like he is with that massive underbite.
Yep, he even has little braids in his mustache.
Yep.
It's just neat.
And I hope you enjoyed this appearance, because he's the only male badger you will ever see in this cartoon.
Aw.
Well, if the next season is Martin the Warrior, then yep. Is. Oh, well.
Yeah, he literally starts and he's picking flowers, and it's nice because he's collecting stuff for his daughter, and then he sees smoke in the distance.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure Alma's just cooking dinner, right?
My badger senses are tingling.
But yeah, he finds his house afire and his daughter missing, and he actually charges into said house to collect his axe.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's no smoke inhalation.
Yeah, my favorite thing about that whole thing is, like, you see the house on fire and that's fine, and you see debris on fire and that's fine, but then just a random stump in the background is just blazing. So I'm just imagining these rats like, hee, just setting fire to this tree. They're like, yeah, that's fine.
Look, Slacker doesn't do any jobs by half, okay?
I just look at his Vitch as the one that set the stump on fire. He's like, look, I did something.
Let's dive in the house, Fitch.
I seriously wish Vitch would have the whiny or the pimply teenager voice from The Simpsons. Mattimeo, I don't like you.
That would explain so much.
Although I think the voice actor who does play him has a very good time playing the villain. He has these like evil little laughs that are like so over the top and hilarious. He's like,
Yeah.
And Orlando immediately knows that it's Slagar.
yes.
Huh.
Which I believe is implied in the book because of the whole poem about him following the fox.
Yep. And we know Slagar's kind of nuts, but I have to question the wisdom here of, stealing a daughter of a huge badger was the smartest movie he's ever made.
With a
Well,
giant axe.
Probably make a lot of money off of because she's probably very strong.
Well, that's assuming there's money in this universe, but
That's
we covered
true.
that last time.
Yes.
Wait, I have a second complaint.
Go on.
Later in this episode, all right, so you know how they're like, no weapons, and then they all throw down their weapons?
Mm-hmm.
One of them just has a butter knife. And
It's
I'm
a
wondering,
weapon.
I'm
Probably
wondering why, when they were at Orlando's house, nobody thought to take that axe.
I don't think any of them could have carried it.
I think a few of them are big enough to carry it.
3 claws, maybe.
Yeah, 3 claws is pretty big. I don't know. I think that would have pissed off Orlando even more.
Yeah, but what can he do? He's weaponless now.
I don't know. Brocktree seems to have a solution for no weapons.
Oh boy.
And Craiga.
And Craig.
Yeah, they spec'd into Monk.
and Constance, because Constance just picks up anything around her that's huge and goes, I'm gonna beat you with this.
Yep. So Orlando is now following the fox. Oh, are you okay over there? Okay. I'm not gonna question that.
Slagar, no swiping.
Oh.
I'm
Oh.
actually choking on water right now.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that.
While
please.
Drew dies,
Drew
we're,
dies
Mattimeo's first primary introduction to the series, if you didn't watch the final episode of the last season, is him beating the tar out of Vitch.
A great introduction.
And kind of like I said this last time when we introduced this book, he's still a brat.
Yep.
He is.
I mean, arguably Vitch has it coming, or he will with actions later on, but Mattimeo's just mad because Vitch rightfully pointed out, yeah, you're not a warrior yet there, Chief.
Let's go ahead and take a drink every time Vitch gets beat up.
Do you want to die?
Go with water, or else
Yeah.
you'll be dead from alcohol poisoning by the end of this episode.
Oh no, I could be dead from water too.
Well, if you keep choking on it.
But yeah, it pretty much plays out the same way in the book. They separate the two and point out, hey, Mattimeo, you really shouldn't overreact to this, but Vitch, you're totally gonna go clean the kitchens. You have fun with that, and he even hisses at one of the friars for pulling his ear.
Yep.
I don't remember the name. So when Mattimeo points out, I think he's a rat, no one listens, but yeah, it kind of is.
That's racist, Mattimeo.
Well, his animation model is different. He looks different.
Not that Mattimeo has anything against rats. I'm sure some of his best friends are rats.
Oh.
And his dad has a sword called Rat Death.
There we go.
Oh no!
Yeah, no one bothers to mention that anymore.
Yeah, PR at Redwall got changed that at some point.
We kind of all agreed at the end. Kind of the consensus at the end of the graphic novel is like, we're all not going to call it that, right? Yeah, pretty much.
Gotta name it Friend Maker.
Meanwhile, in St. Ninian's, a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah! Like, we haven't seen this before.
Yep. I like how Slegard's worried about like his conspicuous new hideout.
I mean, he's smart enough to post guards right now, and then he sits there in the windowsill and monologues. About his revenge.
Well, when you have Tim Curry's voice, why would you not monologue?
Oh, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. But
Yeah.
I just said when it like, hey boss, you're monologuing again. Shut up.
Also, I gotta put it, Slacker really got the reject squad in this story. Just like they're all pretty dumb.
I think
I mean,
that's
yes,
intentional.
we know from the book that's on purpose.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we don't know that here. So. And yeah, we find out, hey, Mattimeo, yeah, he's totally right, because, here comes Vitch, and he's been spying on Redwall. Huh. Well,
Yep.
maybe the kid was right, and his dad's punishing him.
I got a kick out of it when Bitch shows up at their Slagger just like picks him up and tosses him off screen. And you see like a crash and like, all right, bye, Bitch.
I love how many times Slagar says the word spy. Like, he's like, I'm waiting for my spy. There's my spy. Good job, spy. You get it, kids? This is a spy.
He's evil. Let me draw the devil horns on him.
Yeah.
See, I would just prefer to dress him in a suit and ski mask like Team Fortress 2. Am I the only one who still plays that game? Okay.
Yes.
No. But yes, we find it, we find out, yes, Matthias is punishing Vitch, or not punishing Vitch, he's punishing his son. You know what I meant.
Yep. And I like a little thing here where you can tell they adapted some of Formal's speech and names from the book. But I like how he calls Matthias Mattwise, like he does in the book.
Yes.
Yeah, before Mattimeo walks in to talk to his dad about all the evil he's committed by beating up a innocent creature, Formal's like, oh, you're not going to wallop him too hard. No, I'd never raise a paw to my son. In walks Mattimeo and, wallop him hard, Matthias.
Yep.
I like to point out the first line was actually from the book. The second one was not.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Note to self, do not be a mole child around Formal.
And then we get I like the animated version of Matthias doing like little tricks with spinning the sword around and slicing an apple and things like that from the book. I thought that was nice to see that in animation.
Well,
Yeah,
it
that was
also
where they
makes
spent the entire animation budget, though, just so you know.
it also makes sense tactically that Matthias would keep in shape, that he would keep training, because he honestly, you don't know when the next army is going to come over the hill. Oh, hey, a troop of clowns. They're not an army.
Also, Matthias has run out of giant bells to drop on people, so, you know.
Yeah, we get Slager's whole plan is as from the book. He decides to do as a troop of entertainers, and tells all of his soldiers to leave their weapons out back in the forest near St. Ninian's.
Yep. It's a neat display of him being Luna Solaris,
Yep.
disappearing and such.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have one of the villains to go over the top with a display and a show, well, you might as well get Tim Curry to voice him.
Yes.
Exactly.
Can I make... Oh, go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I make one adaptation complaint that I think is a fairly major one? In all of the books, like, the feasts are just these huge descriptions of a million different things, and then they cut to the tables, and there's, like, exactly 3 things of them. One just looks like a bucket of spinach.
Yeah, I did have that too.
The other is, like, pink-colored meat. Also, at the shot I'm looking at right now, one of the mice is just literally floating about 10 inches above the ground. And I don't remember that in the book, so, you know.
Well, you didn't know about the great floating mouse in the book?
It's a really neat party trick.
He's got his little hoverboard.
Let's be honest here, this is one of the things the cartoon really can't do very well.
Yeah.
And that is display all the, food.
Yeah. I was going to say with Tim Curry's acting, I like how he added like a little rasp to his voice to sell what we eventually see as like the damage to his face and throat. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yes, Slager's whole plan is to invade as a troupe of actors, and yeah, it works. And he totally wows the crowd with juggling and juggling.
There's actually
clowns.
Really creepy singing.
Yeah, I gotta say, first of all, Slager's crew kind of looks like the creeps that kidnap kids in the park, and they're not even really juggling. They're literally just, each of them is tossing one ball up in the air and then catching it.
Hey, every actor has to start somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole crew, I'm like, I don't know. These look like the dudes in Central Park that you want to put a wide berth between you and them.
But Slager's whole bit is, and we see copious amounts. The show goes out of its way to show that he's spiking the drinks.
Or Ambrose spiking the drinks.
In my notes, I called it the Sister May special.
Yeah.
We don't even see her in these.
She's showing up soon, I hope. Wait, she is it? Just actually, you know what? That's going to be a spoiler. I'm not going to ask.
Well, we've gone over this book, so.
Well, no, I meant spoiler for the cartoon. I was going to ask
Oh.
if she got adapted into it, but I just want to find out as I watch.
Pretty sure she does, but we'll find out.
Yep.
So yeah, he spikes the drinks, and then everyone goes to sleep, and they load the kids.
Yep. And in this second episode, we see that this stuff must be strong because even Ambrose Spike was knocked unconscious. I mean, that's saying something.
Yeah, he was barely featured in season 1, but he's here. He's somehow brother Ambrose, but he wasn't probably over in the book.
I bet Holly Berry was still up.
And yes, and Matthias wakes up probably from the worst hangover he's ever had.
Yeah, that looks like the aftermath of a frat party right there.
Who invited the Gaw tribe? And we also get introduced to Winifred, who for some reason is not wearing any clothing, and this is very weird.
She was in season 1 for all of one scene, and that's about all I remember of her. And now she's I won't call her a regular, but she's a strong supporting. And yes, she never wears clothes.
And I've got to mention, a difference between this and the books is that Winifred apparently hates Friar Hugo. Because when they find him literally dead, her entire response is, and this is exactly how she says it, "Oh no. Just, oh no."
Right.
And that's right after she roasts him. She says something along the lines of like, "I don't think Friar Hugo could run farther than this." Matthias is like, "Haha, right." And then they're like, "Oh, he's dead."
Get it? Because he's fat.
And he's very dead. Yes, Slagar, as in the book, Slagar kills 2 of the Redwallers on their way out and grievously wounds the church mouse dad.
Who is supposed to be Cornflower's father, but we're going to forget that for this one because it would make stuff very weird.
Oh, that's like saying we don't know where Nala's father came from in The Lion King unless it's Scar. Oh.
Right.
I can see what's happening.
Nope.
And they don't have
in 30 states.
But yeah, the parents wake up and no one actually looks for the kids outright. At first, everyone assumes, oh, they're probably somewhere on the grounds.
It's better than, I kind of like how they keep addressing it, like keep your eye out for the young ones, because in the book, nobody seems to notice where the kids are. Like, something's missing. I don't know what.
There's no child protective services in this abbey.
Right.
I will say this book probably has the greatest collection of non-orphans in the entire series. Because most of the kids that are kidnapped actually do have parents.
With the exception of Cynthia, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she had parents.
Yeah.
My mom.
One parent.
Yeah, and to show that, there's actual character progression here, because it's Basil who finds Friar Hugo, and I don't remember this in the books, but he actually starts crying over his friend being murdered.
He does in the book too. Yeah.
Yep. And
I like to point out, the TV series too much credit.
Yeah. we also get the first of many times where we have Matthias running around shouting "Red Wall," and much like in all the other instances throughout these episodes, it does not end with anything really good happening. Because here he's just
Matthias,
"Red
stop
Wall!"
doing that.
And then nothing. And then like later on he shouts "Red Wall" and like almost kills Cheek. And then later on he goes "Red Wall!" and then gets trapped inside a cave.
Right.
Matthias, you need to stop shouting that.
I gotta say, the voice actor that plays Matthias, when he found out that Mattimeo was gone, it was just like this sigh, just like this, like this exasperated sigh. Like I don't think that's what you're going for there, but that's what it sounded like to me.
Looks like I gotta go find my kid.
Having children is a lot of trouble. That's why we pick up so many orphans.
And that's when Cornflower gives him a dirty look, grabs his sword, and says, "Fine, I'm doing it."
Right.
At least it's better than Luke, where he's like, "Now, son, you go take care of this entire tribe by yourself, even though you're like 3. Bye." Goodbye, son.
Right.
You'll be fine.
See, this is why Matthias never asked Martin for help when parenting. He's like, "Martin, what would you do?" And Martin's like, "You don't want to know."
Like, there's a reason I did not have children.
Hey, I had to babysit baby pygmy shrews. Matthias, don't ask me for advice.
I do like the little touches to Matthias's character design to make him look older now, where he's a little bit bigger than he was in the previous season. And it's like the same basic design, but he's also like a little scruffier. So it's like just little things. And
they give him actual, new clothes. So
yeah,
he wears a habit to start this season, but he quickly gets rid of it.
Yep, I like his traveling gear.
And what happened? And by the way, if you're going to ask what happened to his armor and shield, well, the armor becomes a plot point later, but the shield is never seen again.
Much like in the books.
Right.
I was going to say, it is nice that we get, it's the same voice actor, Tyrone Savage, playing Matthias, and he deliberately deepened the voice.
Oh, it is the same guy. I was wondering if it was the same guy or not.
It is.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I would make a puberty joke, but it's beneath me. So.
Meanwhile, back at the caravan with the slaves, we find out that Vitch is just such a weenie.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, get it out of the way. We got to do a running gag here.
Vitch is a weenie.
He's not the weenie. You are the weenie. If you have no idea what we're referencing, go watch the cartoon Freakazoid.
Yep.
Go on. We'll wait.
Which actually now I kind of want to hear that with like the pimply voice teen and the pimply teen of like, I'm not a weenie. You're the weenie. Case in point, Vitch gets shoved in the mud by Mattimeo, and then everybody steps on his head.
Here's one of the things about that, though, is Vitch is getting close to him, and Mattimeo takes exactly, I counted, like 4 long seconds to grab his arm and throw him. And he's just reaching his hand forward, and Vitch is like, this is fine. Then grabs him, and they're just staring at each other for about 2 seconds. And then he, shoulder checks him, which was dope. But just later when Vitch actually comes up to the entire crowd, every single person turns their head in unison like it's Scooby-Doo and gasps at the same time. They're like, Vitch! Oh, it's Vitch. Oh.
When they pull off Slagger's mask, it's Old Man Chicken Hound!
Ah!
Yeah, well, there goes the bum 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 sound effect I did back when we covered the book. So, yeah, it's not a spoiler anymore. So,
yeah, I just had written down, I am Chicken Hound. No, that's impossible.
Wait, do I even know who that is? So yeah, we do get Slagar briefly telling. We get the whole, hey, you're going to take the cart north, I'll take the slave south, we'll meet up later. Okay, great.
You take the high road and I take the low road.
Slagar is deliberately saying, yes, we're going to create a false trail, so catch up later, okay? And the Red Wallers are totally going to... Nope, oh, they fell for it.
I'm sure Master Tracker Basil Staghair will...
Oh well.
Yep.
And we finally get the big reveal to Mattimeo. And okay, yeah, like I said, I'm trying to keep the adaptation complaints to a minimum, but it just does not come off with the same menace it does in the books. Tim Curry or not. One, Slager definitely truncates his story. Yes, he's crazy. We've established this. But he
crazy like a fox.
Wah, wah.
That's the reaction that joke deserved.
he definitely has rewritten some of his own history because he's even bothering to mention his mom, who, yeah, okay.
We do get a nice recap of the funniest scene from season 1 where she gets locked out and then turns around and all of Clooney's forces there going, hi.
And we don't hear it, but it's right when Clooney says, if I were you, I would run. But, yeah, he implies his mom was completely innocent and totally not a dealing double agent. And, the Red Wallers...
She was so nice, she wanted to help both sides.
And, Slager's implying that the Red Wallers totally betrayed her, and I'm like, yeah, but they didn't have reason not to betray her.
Betray would mean they put their trust in her in the first place.
And Constance don't play like that.
Yep.
We also get Slager revising history, saying, yeah, I was accepted back into the Abbey, but I was totally their prisoner. And Mano was like, hey, Red Wallers don't have prisoners. Except that Veil guy. But, yeah, everybody forgets about him.
Also, I do have to ask, so in the book, it's implied that it's just Slagar and Mattimeo sitting in a tent together. In the cartoon, one of Slagar's henchmen is just sort of hanging out, sitting there listening to this entire story.
Yeah, no, he specifically dismisses them in the book. He tells them to go away.
Go away.
And
Well,
he pulls off the mask.
Sitting in the cartoon, Three Claws sitting there awkwardly, like, should I leave or I don't want to interrupt him, but this is getting awkward.
And yes, he does pull off the mask because your father did this to me. How? That's not important.
The funny thing is, he pulls off the mask. It's this reveal. He's like, your father did this to me, and it's followed by an 18-second shot of Mattimeo blinking while looking incredibly bored.
Yeah.
Oh, is that all? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
and he's being held by Slagar. I'm just noticing this now. He's being held like 2 feet off the ground, and he's just like, yeah.
If that's all Dad did, I mean, you should have seen what he did to Bull Sparrow. But okay.
Yeah, Mattimeo's like, look, I've read the Batman comics. You're not doing anything for me here, Two-Face.
Hey, that's hurtful.
I'm just now picturing Saga going, when I saw your father, I talked just like this.
I got that reference.
Oh, yeah, okay, Christopher Lloyd needs to play a bad guy.
Yep.
It's somewhere in this franchise.
When this slave cart hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious stuff.
But yeah, Slagar, he just doesn't outright say how his face got totally maimed and looks totally cool and somehow he put a mask that randomly sparkles in the eye.
Yep.
Okay.
So was there like a visual flashback of the snake or anything?
No,
Nope.
there wasn't.
No,
Okay.
Asmodeus.
It's like, that's kind of critical. But from Slagar's point of view, Mattimeo is not Mattimeo, Matthias totally did this to him. That's how I'm like, how?
It's like, Matthias is not a serial killer, okay? Don't think he would do that. My only, besides leaving out Asmodeus, my only real complaint is I missed the line from the book, which was, aren't I the pretty one? I would have loved to hear Tim Curry deliver that.
Yeah, there's that too.
So was his disfigurement, did it look actually like you expected it to?
It's pretty creepy. I thought it was creepy.
I mean, I remember when I read the original book, I imagined a lot more blackened flesh, and it's not quite that way. Two-Face is a good way to describe it.
It's also a children's cartoon, so it's like they can only make it so creepy.
Deaths, so yes.
Yep. If this was the graphic novel, they'd probably have like a close-up, super detailed creepiness of it. So,
It would have been dope because the graphic novel was dope.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But that pretty much ends episode 2.
I gotta say that the voice actor who plays Alma is pretty good, but she seems to like sort of try to have a British accent toward the beginning, and then halfway through the episode she's like, whatever, I'm just gonna talk normal.
I can't keep that up. I'm 6.
Right.
It's like Elizabeth Olsen in the Marvel movies where her accent progressively disappears from movie to movie.
Right.
We also get...
Go on.
I do also want to point out we get pretty much straight from the book, we get Cynthia Bankful being annoying because she's... Yeah, I mean, she's a little kid. She's been kidnapped from the only home she ever knows, and ex-parent. And yeah, she doesn't know how to emotionally process this, so she's crying. And Mattimeo is not exactly sensitive to this. But I hate to say it, I kind of. Yeah, she annoys me too.
Have we met one Vole yet that's not oh wait, Rollo's pretty cool. Never mind.
Yeah.
He starts off a little annoying, but he gets much better quickly.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yes. And also one thing different in this episode is initially the parent search group included cornflower.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
But as their parents are realizing that, hey, this isn't the right track, or they will in the next episode, she mysteriously goes back to the Abbey, and we never actually get a proper goodbye scene between her and Matthias. He just kind of takes off, and she's good with it. Okay.
They're not speaking after his exasperated sigh about having to find his son.
The cornflower's like, well, fine, be that way. Yeah. And episode 3 ends with Basil, Matthias, and Jess finding the cart, and Matthias charging, going, Red Wall!
And
episode 2 ends with that. Episode 3 starts off with that. And he almost kills Kid.
I was watching it on my TV this morning through YouTube and my Chromecast, and I actually put out on my on our Twitter that hey, it's a good morning for our cartoons. So it was fun.
I saw that.
Yeah, Matthias charging.
Yeah, I will say I was hoping we'd get the goofy moment of Matthias going, oh shoot, missing Cheek, and then smacking the sword into the side of the cart, throwing it in the air, and going, ow, 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 ow. But
Yeah.
we didn't. And that was in the book, if I remember correctly.
It was, yeah, but we can't have our warrior looking dumb and comedic.
But I want my Looney Tunes moment.
Bruh, I love Cheek. I like the kid who plays Cheek. Sounds like he's reading the lines sometimes, like can't necessarily read exactly what's going on, and so he's kind of sounding it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cutest thing ever. And
it is very cute. Yeah.
whoever animated him loved him compared to everybody. Everybody else's like hands go through random objects at times. Cheek's hands never go through random objects. Oh wait, never mind. His tail's clipping through his foot. In the shot I'm literally looking at right now, that's a thing that happened. All right, never mind. Cheek, terrible. 3
Also, Basil has dad jokes. Anyone else notice that?
Oh yeah.
Wait, he did?
Yeah, hang on. I need to find the exact
When
book.
Cheek is
Yeah.
like, I'm hungry, he's like, oh, I thought your name was Cheek.
Oh, that was the book.
It was in the book. I could totally see my dad saying a dad joke like that.
Yep. Basil and Cheek, the new buddy comedy, now on at Thursdays at 10.
I would totally watch that.
But yeah, we get veteran parents. Both Madam Matthias and Jess are like, "Hey, we need information." So I bet you're
We're
hungry.
going to bribe you with food.
And then when we flip back to the kids,
This is a Debbie Downer.
yeah, and Sam is right there with him.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Sam. Huh?
He's huge.
Where'd you come from? I've been here the whole time.
Only my dad is in absentia.
You're who?
And Vitch is still a weenie.
But yeah, is it Tess who's like, oh, I'm sure they're going to find us soon. Mattimeo and Sam are like, no, they're not. We're going to escape on our own.
We're gonna die.
We're all going to die.
Oh, and also about Tess, they don't seem to give her quite the treatment that they gave Cornflower. Even like in the book, Tess was a little bit of a mischief maker. Like she was the one who slapped Bitch's bottom with the rose stem.
Oh
man.
yeah.
I would have loved to see that in the series.
I will say, I mean, we'll get to an episode 4, but she is the one that spots the dagger in the water and goes in and gets it. So
She does. Yep, and that's
Yep.
from the book.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. We skipped over it, but on the Redwall side, Constance has one of my favorite lines in this entire series. And it's, but how do we find the children? By thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking is hard.
just like
dumb.
Of course,
The abbot just knows that the plot will happen eventually. He just like,
Yeah.
we'll go to sleep. It'll happen.
Hey, I'm not my predecessor. I'm just not going to attempt to surrender, okay?
Look, I have to compensate for the fact that my name is more Dalphus, okay?
Yeah. And I was gonna say his voice is a little strange to me. Like I can't imitate it today because my voice is probably 40% there. But it's like this gruff, sort of gravelly type voice, and it's just weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe just me.
It didn't stand out to me.
It could be.
We get and we finally get our. I know. Do we get a reptile in Martin? I don't know if we get the reptiles in the Martin the Warrior cartoon. I know they're in the book. But,
yeah, I think the lizards are. Well, maybe I'm misremembering.
But we finally. I had to double check the name because I legitimately forgot what it's Skrull.
Skrull, yeah. Which I have to ask, why did the kids believe that this thing has keys to their chains?
I think they're just believing anything because they're desperate.
I don't know. Also, I have to say, this dorky-looking lizard thing looks like it's from a different cartoon.
Oh my god. It looks like somebody, they were like, we need a lizard for this. And they're like, just do the thing from Jurassic Park. It'll be fun.
God, I wish it would screech and then spit stuff in bitch's face.
Hey, do you have a key? I don't think he has a key.
But not only does he look like a Dilophosaurus, yes, I'm a nerd. Shut up. He is bright yellow, which makes me think he's from some other '80s cartoon.
He looks like he's from the Care Bears cartoon.
Thank you, something like that. Yeah. I think I'm on the wrong set. Where am I? Oh, kids. Yeah, I totally got keys.
Yep.
Call my agent when this is over.
I do like we get a little bit of good continuity here where when Sam gives him the champion climber bracelet, if you've noticed, he's had that on his tail the entire show.
He has.
Like, for all 3 episodes. So I thought that was nice.
That is cool.
And they just like in the books, the kids give him what little they have to spare. And he's like, yeah, see you guys.
And they're all like, oh, we just got played.
Although in the book, Alma does throw something at him and like whack him, and I don't think she does that.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
And we then get the most pathetic capture in this entire book, where Jube is like, "Hey, look, dangling food. That totally doesn't look suspicious. Oh, I've been captured."
And this is what I wanted to mention earlier. We have the Stump family, and this is not the first hedgehogs we see. That would be Ambrose Spike, even if he's just asleep.
Drunk.
Yeah, that's the implication. And their animation model here for the entire Stump family kind of creeps me out.
Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V.
There's that. Yes, he has 10 sisters, and they're wearing all the same clothing and all the same colors because animation is expensive.
Control C, Control V.
But what I'm getting at is that the way they're drawn is that there's a line that covers the bottom level of their muzzle on their face. But when they speak or open their mouths to eat, it literally looks like their jaw is coming unhinged.
That's just how they eat. They just go,
and I know it's just the animation model, but it creeps me out.
They're animatronics.
Five Nights at Red Wall.
Five Nights at Slaggers.
Yeah, with all the fan versions of that franchise, why hasn't there been a Redwall one? Wait, no one do that.
Oh God.
There's a lot of fan-made games using that same basic premise, and then like happy kids cartoon characters. I've seen a Disney one. I've seen a SpongeBob one. Hell, there's even been a My Little Pony one. A buddy of mine mentioned that his daughter stumbled upon.
My Little Animatronic Horrors.
Well, back to Redwall.
Yeah, meanwhile, back at Redwall, Mordelphus has a dream.
And this is why you don't go drinking with Ambrose Spike late at night.
I like to point out, Mordelphus has the dream. Martin is telling him what to do, and he starts talking over Martin, going, "Martin, what should I do?"
I'm trying to tell you.
Martin's like, "Fine, don't listen to me."
I like how he moves to the tapestry for better reception.
Can you hear me now?
Good. Then Constance finds him like asleep on the floor going, Abbott, what are you doing? I know! Let's wake everybody up at 2 o'clock in the morning and expect them to solve a riddle. Yeah, if you woke me up anything like at this time of night, I wouldn't be able to tell you what 2 plus 2 was, let alone solve a riddle.
I don't know. If somebody like came into my room shaking me and was like, "We need to solve a riddle," I would definitely be down for that.
And now I have this image of Cornflower getting woken up at 2 in the morning, and the Abbot shaking her awake. And the next scene is straight out of Looney Tunes with him booted out the gatehouse and flying through the air. But yes, the riddle is, hey, you go where the little people go. I don't know what that means.
Not little people.
Okay, little
The
folks.
little people.
I'm shutting up now.
I would like to also point out the episode 3 is called Where the Little Folk Go. This literally takes up maybe 1 minute of the entire episode. Episode 4 kicks off with, I must point out, another good thing about the art. The young one's clothing is starting to degrade and has like rips and wear that it didn't have at the beginning. So, good continuity.
Yay.
Okay, Drew, go ahead and bash on how somebody's foot is clipping through a door or something. We need to even things
hang on
out.
a second. We'll take around 4 seconds. I'm watching episode 4 at the moment. Somebody's face is literally, they've got to read through their head. They've been killed. Oh, no.
Let's give you a new thing. I'm going to say something positive about the art, and then Drew's going to bag on it.
I do want to point out.
Oh my goodness, I found my favorite frame. It's Constance looking like she's about to deck somebody, but she's got her arms behind her back, so they're kind of like sidewinding into somebody else's skull, which is cool. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but it looks sick as heck. So
I do want to point out that we have a, I wouldn't call it major, but it definitely minor. It's a median plot change here from the books. In the books, Slagar definitely is what you could call a chess master. He only gives his rather dim crew enough information to do their jobs while keeping the ultimate goal for him and him alone, and to the point where he tricks them into killing each other later on. This one, not only has he outright told them that our ultimate destination is Malkaris, whatever that is, we'll get to that in a second, there's a definite sense of dread among his crew, like, oh, Malkaris, don't say that name.
Right.
And this is a big change. Because I'm not saying it's bad, because while the book can take its time and build up the mystique, because we can see Slager's inner thoughts on the matter. He knows where he's going. But the cartoon doesn't give us that opportunity, so yeah, this is kind of necessary for them to build up the mystique of where exactly are they going.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, Cornflower's back at Redwall. And seriously, Winifred, pants!
I'm not worried about the pants, because there's plenty of characters without pants, but like...
Slagar doesn't wear pants.
At least something, man.
Yeah, like every other character is dressed, so it is
at least
weird.
Something on.
Yeah, at least go with like, you know, a tie or something.
They're just a really tolerant community.
Apparently.
They didn't have swimsuits back then, and she's like, why should I get all my clothing wet if I'm just going to jump in the water? You haven't been in the water all day.
He's like, sorry, still laundry day.
So, as they track down the little folk, here, I got it right. I have to call in the question like, hey, you know how the last major villain to invade and we had to rediscover much of our own history, including with the Tomb of Martineus? shouldn't we sweep the Abbey in case there's anything else like that? We'll do it
No.
tomorrow.
Nobody learns anything. I mean, if we'll learn by the Long Patrol, they forget about the entire building of the Abbey and that it was on top of water. It's on a Crudfeld nation. Which apparently then the people who built the ones who built the Abbey were just like, hey, wasn't there a castle that fell into the water here? It's fine.
We'll never see it again.
Yeah. Important update, Vitch is still a weenie.
And now the parents found the newt.
Yep. I do like this moment where they're like, I know that stuff, and the newt's like, uh-oh.
She turned me into a newt.
And unlike, so in the book, when Jess takes all the stuff from the newt, he's like, hey, we'll find you again and give it back once we find our kids. And the newt's like, I'm not sticking around for that. But in the cartoon, Jess just goes, yeah, I'm taking these back. Bye.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like that one more.
And Matthias outright stands, hey, Slagar's been laying false tracks. Yeah, you kind of confirmed that the last episode with the freaking cart.
The trickster is tricking us? No.
And we get to kind of something that I have to notice as an adult, but, I have to remark on as an adult, but the cartoon is kind of surprising at this. As if you remember in the book, and it happens here, that Task goes through the grand ordeal of picking up a dagger one of the vermin crew dropped, and so they can pop their manacles with it and get the heck away. Mm-hmm. What I do notice is that they leave a small cadre of the rest of the slaves behind. It's only the Redwallers and Alma that get away. And here's the thing. In a kid's cartoon, it's kind of a mixed morality here because those are other slaves. They would probably want to get away too.
They do say at least in the cartoon, they do say we'll get reinforcements from Redwall because we can't all escape at once, and then we'll come back for them.
But
I think in the book it also says that they knew that the other captives were too afraid to escape because they had seen what Slagar had done to captives that were recaptured.
Yeah, like they were watching and being like, I don't want to be part of that.
Well, that wasn't shown, so I have to comment on it. And here's the thing. As an adult who works education, I'm not a teacher, I do support staff. And here's the thing. In a crisis situation, and when I mean, lockdown or, God forbid, an active shooter, but adults are outright told, at least in the education field and pretty much any other business who does kind of that kind of training, you really shouldn't stop to rescue everybody. Your first job is to get out and get away. It may seem cruel, it may seem low, but no, this is what you're supposed to do. You have a better chance of not only yourself surviving, but the people you're leaving behind surviving if you get out and you can arrange help for other people. So good on the kids, I guess.
I also like, this was in the book, but also I wasn't on episode 1 of Mattimeo, so I will probably have some comments that might be redundant from what other people might have pointed out, but...
That was my first episode, yay!
Yay!
It was!
I like the fact that we get to see the Redwall and, newcomer youngsters thinking on their own and trying to escape and growing. Like, it gives us a reason to follow them, to, see their growth, see their resourcefulness and their bravery. Like, if it was just them being dragged along in Slagar's story, it wouldn't be as interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so it makes it like, this is why this book, and this was called Mattimeo, where we actually do see Mattimeo's growth throughout this whole section.
Definitely agree with that. We also get childish comic relief because when they finally find the tomb of Abbess Germain, Constant can barely fit in the door.
Just like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, bother.
Oh, bother.
And then suddenly, Three Claws is picking on Bitch, and I like it.
Yep. I love it where they stab Bitch in the foot, and he's like, oh, my foot. He's sucking on the wound, and it's like, it's probably one of them poisonous pikes. You might not want to suck on it. Oh, Bitch. You're the weeniest weenie ever.
It's so ominous too. They only have one like danger noise. It says every single time something happens. And so they show Vitch, they show Mattimeo, they show the dagger, and then just and you're like, oh my god, he's going to shank him. Like
Prison life hardens a dude.
yeah, he's like, I ain't going back.
I'm all institutionalized now.
Oh my god. Every single time I pause this thing, I have it going on and mute in the background, and Constance's face is flattened. I'm gonna screenshot this. I'll send it to you guys.
Also, I gotta point out, Scringe has a nose ring, which I have a question that I should probably retract, which is, how do piercings work in this world?
Hold still.
Yeah.
It's basically hold still.
Put a little ice on it, it'll be fine.
What ice?
And I do like watching the moles work with their pulley system.
Yeah, that's
We
fun.
get moles who are definitely the unappreciated series. Unappreciated species! You know what I said.
Unappreciated spirits.
Very cute with their mold.
Clicking on the Constance picture just blows it up to the entire screen. Alright. Also, I like that we get to see the drink cellar, because I don't think we got to see it in season 1.
We didn't.
Zella.
And there's... Oh, hi, Ambrose Spike. Oh.
He's literally unconscious with a drink next to him. he's got a
He has
problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Look at his eye!
This is the picture. So for people who can't see this, which is, well, everyone listening to this right now.
Everyone
Drew just
and
sent
then
and Katie. Drew just sent us a picture of Abbott Mordalpus, which one, he has kind of like a look on his face, and one of his eyeballs seems to be creeping outside of his eye socket.
That's
And
not
on
disturbing.
top of his spectacles.
It's on top of his glasses. It's on top of his spectacles, and I don't know enough about animation to know how that happened. Why was
Keep your
that
eye
separate?
on this.
It's called an animation error.
I'll
In
keep
fact,
an
I
eye
mean,
out.
Don't get me wrong, modern animation has come a long way, but if you actually go on, I don't know, if you want to be sucked into the black hole of TV tropes, or IMDb has some of this too, there, in the modern cartoons, it still happens, but it's a heck of a lot less since quality control is much more of a thing in the industry. The 80s and 90s are known for really for characters looking off model or just being graphically not what they should, or the wrong character voice coming out of a person. I'm looking at you, original Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I was gonna say Transformers.
I'm looking-
The original Transformers show had the greatest gaffe of all time, where it was like 3 gaffs on top of each other. First, so if anyone hadn't seen that show, there were 3 jet characters that looked identical except for their color schemes, but they all had different voices. There's an episode where you see Starscream, one of them, standing in a spot with a different character's voice. Then it cuts away, then it cuts back, and it's the other character standing there instead of Starscream.
How?
And even on the DVD for this series, they even talk about some of the errors where they literally admit that they animated one scene backwards. And you see this jet flying backwards past a bunch of destroyed buildings, instantly repairing them.
So, does Redwall have animation errors? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. And least of which is one of the Abbott's eyes becoming self-aware.
I can see that.
I can see what's happening.
It's just mad-eyed Abbott.
Just
Find the
thinking
pearls.
Just thinking of that scene from Street Fighter, the movie. I guess you did not see that, did you?
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there, Jeremy. You can tell we've been friends for a long time.
Yep.
We also see character development for Basil. Yes, in the book, he officially adopts Cheek by the end of it, but at one point, Jess teases him, "You're going soft, Basil," as he's actually growing a fondness for the otter kid.
Yep.
Aww.
This is shortly after Orlando's like, "It's not nice to talk back to your elders," and Cheek's like, "Oh God, you giant."
After
Cheek, tease the giant badger with an axe.
So we then get to the point where Slagar has set up his trap for Matthias and crew, and we get, as I said before, Matthias shouting "Red Wall" and cave in. And
well, not before Orlando manages to mess up Eulalia.
Right.
How do you get this wrong? It's the core badger battle cry, and you slaughter the pronunciation, and that's coming from a guy who slaughters everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like we haven't slaughtered, like, butchered different random pronunciations and things.
Yep.
So
He pronounces it, I think it's Yulia or something.
Yulia, yeah.
Yeah. Eulogy.
Well, you're about to need one because the parents are trapped. It's a trap.
Yeah.
Hey, what is Admiral Akbar doing here?
And we close out this episode with Tim Curry's maniacal laughter, and that is the
Indeed.
win.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I didn't mention on end of episode 3 is the Fellowship of the Angry Parents gets formed.
And
Yes.
my axe.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to recast him for John Rhys Davies.
Hell yes.
Because he doesn't get enough love.
No, he doesn't. Oh yeah, that's the first 4 episodes. And compared to the book, it's pretty good. Not perfect.
Yeah. I am enjoying this so far. I like it more than season 1. I think it's better paced. Like, it doesn't feel like they're accidentally rushing through part of the book and then going, "Uh-oh, we're going to have to throw in some filler."
There is some character stuff they skipped, like Mattimeo getting lectured 3 times. Well, 2 and implied 1 to come later. And how how his bratty self feels like he shouldn't have to be lectured for being the son of the warrior. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to watch Constance, tear into him verbally.
Constance being Constance.
And watching Cornflower quietly giving her permission and enjoying it with a bucket of popcorn.
I'm just like now picturing Cornflower like maniacally like twiddling her fingers in the background. Yes.
Yes. But how do we find the children? By thinking.
I mean,
think.
Big brain play. Fine, kid.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? It's not. Yes, Tim Curry is still awesome, but yeah, I like it.
I like it too. It was a lot easier for me to follow without having to look at the wiki.
That's good. Even if the Stump family is very creepy. To me.
Yeah, see, I didn't notice that. Advantages of just listening to stuff.
Come play with us.
I like me. Oh, go on.
We certainly don't have the Ravens and Ironbeak haven't shown up yet, but that's still early.
Nevermore.
I get it.
The heck?
Drew is dying.
More choking on water.
Pun noise. It's his bad pun noise, I think.
Yeah, that's just my bad joke noise.
Ah, okay.
Bad jokes. My kryptonite.
Bad joke.
Please. If bad jokes were your kryptonite, Jeremy, you would have killed yourself by now.
Oof.
Ouch.
Oh my god. In the title, her arm clips through his head. It's in the beginning animation.
Apparently, Drew is losing his mind.
Like, I was watching this, the beginning, and they show everything, and Jess's arm just goes straight through the back of his neck. She's decapitated him. He's dead.
Who's he?
It's Matthias.
Oh, bye, Matthias.
We
Jess is
hardly-
like, this is my sword now. I climbed up to the roof to get it anyway.
Listen to me. I'm the warrior now.
Look at me. I just saw what the shrews look like, and oh my god.
Were you not around when we covered the
Spoilers.
shrews last time?
No, he was. I remember him being there.
I was, but I'm like selectively blocking the shrews from them.
Okay.
Now, the crows, I will say I'm excited for next episode because the crows and ravens, they look dope. These things look sick as heck.
And
They're so good, they're breaking up your connection.
Yeah.
Help!
So, do the shrews get to wear little uniforms in red, gold, and blue for some reason?
Oh,
That's still one of my favorite jokes ever made, Jeremy.
the red shirt, the red shirts of Mossflower. The guerrilla union of red shirts and Mossflower. The Gorsome.
Gorsome. I like it.
All right, so next time we're gonna hit episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8, and who do we appreciate?
Tim Curry.
Yes.
Indeed.
And
All right. I'm
shall I give
yes.
the rundown?
Yeah. Do the rundown.
All right. You can find us at recorderonthewall.com. We are also on iTunes and Google Play Podcast. We are featured on the Eulelia subreddit on Reddit. We are also featured on the official Red Wall forums. We have a Twitter account at ROTWpod. That is also our email address that you can contact us at, which is rotwpod@gmail.com. As a reminder, in a few episodes, we're going to be doing a recap and Q&A, so please send us your questions. And that's it.
Very good. Let's do the exit order the same way we came in to make it easy.
It's your boy.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye now.
Bye.
We'll see you next time, folks.
Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad. Bye, Matthias. I hope you find your kids.